I stumble here on this path o'ergrown, strewn with thorns and thistles, won't you cut these shrubs so sharp? They hide your face from mine. When these hazy thoughts spread like misty dawn, won't you draw a silent breath and raise this blinding fog, and raise this blinding fog. Mother, lift me, free me, take me, and anchor me on your shore. Please, hold my hand, pick me up when I am falling from your love. Outside your blissful realm, the world creaks and moans. Won't you melt this endless chaos that masks your inner calm, that masks your inner calm? Aching, spinning, circling for you, yearning, churning, burning for you. Mother, I'm weary, I feel lost, so lift me, free me, take me, and anchor me on your shore. Please, hold my hand, pick me up when I am falling from your love. Slowly, so softly, I am drawn to your glowing face of unbounded charm. You shine upon this lonely heart and raise my spirit like golden rays on an icy mountain top, like golden haze on an icy mountain top. Mother, lift me, free me, take me, and anchor me on your shore. Please, hold my hand, pick me up when I am falling from
Good morning. Wow, to come from that to this. What a great morning. This set of thoughts this morning kind of came to me over the years of this, a little bit of frustration with life, of just wondering how much can I possibly be responsible for in this world. You know, all the effort. You know, I look at the arc of spiritual life, and boy, there's been a lot of pain in there. You know, there's a lot of struggle in there, a lot of judgment, a lot of feeling like, oh my God, how is this ever going to happen? You know, I remember taking my sannyas in India. What a pinnacle experience that was, amazing experience that was. And this constant feeling of like somehow I had slipped in unbeknownst to everybody. You know, I remember walking behind this, there was 52 of us that took sannyas in the year that that happened. Our Rupationanda was here. He's not here yet this morning, but he and I took it together. And I remember, if you can imagine this idyllic scene, I'm walking in full Garawith with 50 other men. We're out in the rice paddies of Jairambati, so just this endless sea of this verdant, deep green of you know, tropical rice growing. And behind it, this dark purple sky that was of a storm that had already passed was sort of in the distance, and the sun setting behind us, shining really bright at a very sharp angle. And I'm walking, I'm last in line, and I'm watching 50 men in front of me in this bright orange color against that purple sky and that green outlay of rice paddies and the wind blowing their robes and their chaddars over off to the side. And I almost fell over at the moment because of how beautiful and how deep and how amazed I was feeling, how a part of something that was thousands of years old, you know, something that had been happening since time immemorial. And here I was walking in this line of sannyasins, just having one moment after another where I'm like, really? This is really happening. This is really going on. I couldn't believe it. You know, it was similar to going to the mountains. After you take sannyas, it's normal for everybody to kind of run off into the hills somewhere to wander for however long, for a few weeks or months, depending on your schedules. And so I was up there with two of my friends that I'd taken sannyas with, and we were way up in the mountains, hiking on some goat trail that was this tiny little thing. And, you know, I had walked in the Himalayas in '99 when I first went to India as a tourist. I walked there with my hiking gear, you know, my little fancy backpack, and walked there and saw the Himalayas as a tourist would see them. Wow, beautiful mountains. Wow, what a great place. Gosh, there should be a hand railing there. You know, just that kind of feeling. And then to walk again in the Himalayas as a sannyasin was so completely other, was so completely different from that, because it felt as if my feet sort of sunk into the ground, like I was part of the story now. I was walking a path that sannyasins have been walking for tens of thousands of years in search for the divine. And as we were walking on this, I noticed, you know, there was a whole bunch of women working very hard at cutting off firewood from the trees off the side. And when they saw the three of us, the three sannyasins, coming up the trail, the next time I looked up, they were absolutely gone. I had no idea where they went. I was secretly looking for them, like, where in the world did 8 women just disappear up here? They were nowhere to be found, you know, because of their respect for the sannyas ideal and not wanting our eyes to even fall on them. And then going on even farther down the road, and there was this very old goat herder man. I mean very old. He certainly should not have been out there by himself herding goats. But he had like 3 or 4 goats with him. And when we saw him at quite a distance, you know, quite a distance, we were just into view. I saw him take his staff and set it against the rock, and he laid down on the side of that path, face down in the dirt, and didn't move a muscle until all 3 of us had walked by and passed on, that he got up and continued on with his goats. And, we learned a lot during sannyas that when people bow down like that, it has nothing to do with who's in the robe. It has everything to do with what's represented by the robe, by the colors, this renunciation of all things but God, God and God alone. And to have that kind of experience, just really taking my life from such extremes. I mean, the extremes of my worldly life, where I just was barely finding enough to get up and keep going every day. Everything seemed so empty. To that story of my sannyas and of that experience and everything in between. And it just made me think about the nature of experience in this world and how challenging it is, how huge it is, how unknown it is to us, that we're forced to create an ego self to sort of envelop ourselves in, to convince ourselves, well, at least to arm's length I'm in charge, right? At least to here I make my decisions. And we try and just assemble some sense of safety, some sense of control, some sense of belonging in the middle of the infinite, an infinite unknown. In one of Ramakrishna's gatherings one day, as he's sitting there in his room with some of the devotees around, one of the devotees named Hari asks him, he says, "Why is there so much suffering in this world? Why is life so difficult?" And the master says, "This world is the play of God. It's like a game. In this game there are joy and sorrow, virtue and vice, knowledge and ignorance, good and evil. The game cannot continue if sin and suffering are altogether eliminated from the creation. In the game of hide and seek, one must touch the granny in order to be free," right? Touch home base, as we used to call it. But the granny is never pleased if she is touched at the very outset. It is God's wish that the play should continue for some time. Then, out of 100,000 kites, at best 1 or 2 break free. And thou dost clap your hands, O mother, and laugh, watching them. In other words, after the practice of hard spiritual discipline, 1 or 2 have the vision of God through his grace and are liberated. Then the Divine Mother claps her hands in joy and exclaims, "Bravo! There they go!" Right? Then Hari looks at him. He's not totally convinced. He's looking at Ramakrishna. He says, "Yeah, but this play of hers is our death." Right? It's our death. It's our suffering. And then Ramakrishna, it's beautiful here. I wish we could have him do this in front of us because I'm sure it was full of nuance. It says the master, smiling, leans forward up to Hari and he says, "Yes, please tell me who you are." Right? Please tell me who you are. And of course, he says, "Please tell me who you are. God alone has become all of this. Maya," which is another word for egoism, "the universe, living beings, the 24 cosmic principles. As the snake I bite and as the charmer I cure. It is God himself who has become both vidya and avidya." Those things that take you toward oneness and those things that take you toward the multiplicity or toward ignorance. He remains deluded by the maya of avidya ignorance. And again, with the help of the guru, he is cured by the maya of vidya knowledge. Right? So this life, this game that we're playing, it's a game. Play it. It always seems to Vedantins our goal is to get out of here, right? Let's bust out of here. And yet we can't get out of here. Why can't we get out of here? Because we're not being honest with ourselves. It's because at some level we are enjoying the game, right? Holy Mother says to us, you can have your realization this very moment if you want. Just set down your desires. That's all. That's all you have to do. Set down your desires and the game is over for you. You have your realization. Right? So we're going over now and moving to Bombay from Karmarpur. And here we're having a conversation between Sri Nisargadatta Maharaj and his students. And the questioner says, "I don't like this Lila or play idea. I would rather compare the world to a work yard in which we are the builders." Right? At least then you have a purpose, right? At least then you're exercising, you're building something, you're creating something. I heard this kind of a new fad in theology, this co-creator idea, that we're co-creators with God. So our questioner likes that idea. Maharaj says to him, you take it too seriously. What's wrong with the play? You have a purpose only as long as you are not complete, right? Only out of balance being out of balance is the requirement for having a plan or a purpose, right? If you're perfectly content, you don't move, you don't change. If you are the divine, where you're everywhere present, where are you going to go that you aren't already there? If you're all-knowing, what are you going to learn that you didn't already know? And if you're all-powerful, what are you going to do that you haven't already done? Right? And so see, God exists outside of time. What does that mean? It means that it's the eternal now. There's no space for a narrative in there. There's no space for a what if or an if-then situation. Right? So there is no purpose to it. There is only this play. And you have chosen it. You've created this play. You are that. You are the divine. There's not such thing as an individual, as a person, Sri Nisargadatta says, right? We are all manifestations of different aspects of the divine in this world, right? Of all of us in varying levels of power and influence. But he says, I don't like this. You know, I want the idea that I'm a builder, that I'm accomplishing something, that I'm doing something, right? Because this is how all of us approach life. We all see ourselves as the doer, which is the one thing that Ramakrishna tells us the most in the gospel, that there is no doer. You are not the doer, right? That this is the flow of the divine, all of this happening. And how do we come to know that? Well, it has to become through our observing and watching very closely, right? So Maharaj is telling him, you take it too seriously. What's wrong with the play? You have a purpose only so long as you are not complete. Until then, completeness and perfection is the purpose, but when you are complete in yourself, when you are fully integrated within and without, then you enjoy the universe. You do not labor at it. To the disintegrated, you may seem like you're working hard, but that's their illusion. Sportsmen seem to make a tremendous effort, and yet their sole motive is to play and display. Questioner, do you mean to say that God is just having fun? That he's engaged in purposeless action? Maharaj, God is not only true and good, he's also beautiful. Satyam Shivam Sundaram. He creates beauty for the joy of it. Questioner, well then beauty is his purpose. Maharaj, why do you introduce purpose? Purpose implies movement, implies change, implies a sense of imperfection. God does not aim at beauty. Whatever he does is beautiful. Would you say that a flower is trying to be beautiful? It is beautiful by its very nature. Similarly, God is perfection itself, not an effort at perfection. Right? So you are that. You are this divine self in this divine play, simply manifesting your divine nature, right? This is one of my big frustrations. I've been saying it a lot lately because it only occurred to me a couple weeks ago. You know that when we're born into this world and you go to school for the first time, all of the adults in your life are asking you, what do you want to be when you grow up? What are you going to do when you grow up, right? And you're sitting there, you don't even know what you are. You haven't even really figured out this thing that you're in. You're like, you haven't gotten the movement of the fingers down. You can barely stand up, walk. And people are asking, oh, what are you going to become? What are you going to become? And I can only imagine that I was thinking when I was young, I was like, well, forget what I'm going to become. Why don't you tell me what I am? I mean, for crying out loud. I just came out of that woman over there. I came into this world. I'm like, what the heck is all this? And I got these mushy digits everywhere, and everything is flabby and short, and I can't move. And I just sit here and kind of swaddle around peeing and just wondering what is going on. And I thought, how much more helpful would it have been at that age for someone to come and sit me down and say, hey, your nature is pure love. You know what that means? That means the nicer and more loving that you are in this world, the more fulfilling and happy you're going to be as a person. And did you know that you're pure wisdom, that you can learn from the mistakes that you make if you're careful and watch and see what things hurt you and what things don't hurt you, what makes people feel good and what hurts them. Learn from this because you are wisdom and you can understand this. And the way to touch all of this is for you to be you. Be fully present right now. Don't worry about yesterday and don't worry about tomorrow. Just be here right now and be fully yourself. Would that not have been a radical difference, aside from, trying to find the right answer of what you're going to become? Is anybody in here, did any of you actually become what you said you wanted to become when you were little? I'm still looking for anybody that fulfilled their dream, that went out there and found it. We have another scenario now. We're sitting with Miss Bell, and she's talking to Vivekananda. And Miss Bell says, "This world is an old schoolhouse where we come to learn our lessons." Right? So we've got all these different shots. One is it's a play. One is that it's a gymnasium that we're going to come and work for. One now is that it's an old schoolhouse where we're actually going to learn something. So Swami Vivekananda is sitting there, and he gets a little puzzled look on his face, as I can imagine only Swamiji could. "Who told you that?" Miss Bell could not remember. "Well," says Swamiji, "I don't think so. I think this world is a circus ring in which we are all clowns tumbling." "Why do we tumble, Swami?" Vivekananda: "Because we like it. We like to tumble. And when we get tired, we will quit." Right? When we get tired, we will quit. You see, that's when you get out of the game. When you've had enough. When you've played enough and you just sit there and start thinking, "God, I wish I could have something that would last more than a few minutes. I wish I could buy something that wouldn't wear out and need to be replaced. I wish that I could enjoy a body that wasn't constantly reminding me that it's about to decay on me." Right? When you get to that state in life, then it's time to get out of the play. Until then, learn how to play. Right? Learn how to play. Vivekananda makes that wonderful statement. He says, spiritual life is not here to ruin your fun. Right? Spiritual life is given to you so that you can learn how to play in this world without getting caught in it, without getting attached to things. And how do you do that? Pure acceptance. Accept this moment as perfect. Right? And anything that the mind brings up to you that isn't perfect, know that belongs to the mind. Just use this acceptance of the moment as perfect. Take whatever this moment is bringing to you, and apply your nature to it. Imply your unconditioned love to it. So how does that look when you're filling out a form, or when you're waiting for the bus? To be fully present, fully aware that your nature is to alleviate suffering, that your nature is to connect and to care and to reach out. And so while you're standing there at the bus station, you're friends with everybody already. There's no fear inside of you. What is there to be afraid of? They are also my beloved playing this game. Let's play together, right? And find how the world changes when you get rid of the chip on your own shoulder and walk down Hollywood Boulevard without your own dreams, without your own disappointments, and without your own fears. Sit there and be open to everybody that you're passing. And as you're passing them, pray for them or send a blessing their way if praying is too religious. Just send a nice thought their way. "Oh, Mother, I hope they find some love today. Oh, Mother, I hope they get what they're looking for today. I hope you teach them something that's important today." To walk around sending out blessings everywhere you go. It'll change your life. It'll change your world, actually. The way that you think the world is right now will be radically different after 2 weeks of walking around like that. You'll be accustomed to friendly people. You'll be accustomed to sweet looks and nods on the sidewalk as you go along. You'll see that the world is there for someone who loves, right? For someone who loves with wisdom. Maharaj goes on, Sri Nisargadatta, he says, "Your personal universe does not exist by itself. It is merely a limited and distorted view of the real. It is not the universe that needs improving, but rather your way of looking." Questioner, "Well, how do you view it?" Maharaj, "It is a stage on which a world drama is being played. The quality of the performance is all that matters, not what the actors say and do, but how they say and how they do it." Right? So there's you a big example right there, big clue. You want to learn how to survive this play, right? Learn to do it Learn to do it with your love, with your wisdom, through your presence, through your being. I understand that you were never born to be an engineer. You were never born to be a doctor. You were born to be one thing, and that's the world's greatest lover, right? The world's biggest heart. And incidentally, you work as an accountant. Incidentally, you work as a dentist, as a busboy, right? Because it's not what you're doing that's going to make you happy. It's going to be how you do it. And no matter what job you have, if you do it excellently, if you do it with as an offering of love to love itself, as a byproduct, your life is going to be beautiful. We don't work to have a beautiful life. That doesn't work. We don't chase things. We don't strive for things. We are that, right? And so we exist, and knowing who we are, we act accordingly. And if you act by employing your love without a condition, without a requirement on anybody, you don't have to know them first. They don't have to prove themselves to be a nice person. Even better if they prove themselves not to be a nice person, right? Because then it'll be real if you can dig in yourself and find that love, right? And you practice being. And regardless of what the circumstances and conditions of your life are, you will find fulfillment in that, because that is what you are. That is your nature. It's not a gender, it's not an age, it's not a nationality, it's not a profession, it's not a story. What you are is divine, and you're content with nothing less than infinity and a love without a limit, right? That's all we're all trying to build, a love without a limit. To get rid of our ego, which is the goal of every religion. All the practices in all the religious traditions of the world have that one aim, is for you to drop your ego. Why? Because that's how you become the greatest lover. Ego is the killer of joy, the killer of love, the killer of bliss, right? It's why we have such problems with relationships, right? You go in and you look at you look at the dating apps out there. I was standing behind a young man one time in the monastery. I caught him looking at a dating site, and he was kind of sifting through it. And I was watching there, and I was reading people's ads. And everybody's looking for what they want from a relationship. You know, everybody's looking at what can you give me, right? And if you've got two people that are out there looking for what you can give me, dating, you've got a disaster. You've got an absolute disaster. You need to find someone out there who says what they're bringing to the table. You know, I'm a nice guy most of the time. I communicate well, I've been told. You know, and I really want somebody that I can get up and make breakfast for, somebody that I can, you know, celebrate Mother's Day with in the future. I want somebody who would like to, you know, go on an adventure and have a companion. You know, think in terms of what you have to offer. Forget what you need. That's always going to be an endless list, and especially if you start keeping it. It's going to really multiply. Stop thinking about yourself. Right? Vivekananda says, he gives you those two questions. You want to know how good of a human being you are, how spiritual you are? Two questions. First one, are you unselfish? Right? To the degree that you're unselfish, to that degree you're spiritual. To that degree you're successful at being a human being. Right? Are you unselfish? And that's just sort of the defensive role. That's the not being selfish part. The second question is the proactive part. Are you loving? Right? Are you loving? Are you actually looking for ways of expressing love? Looking for ways of encouraging, looking for ways of believing, you know, of lifting the people up around you. Right? It's the quality of our performance that matters, not what we say and do, but how we say it and how we do it. Is it according to Chidbrahmananda? We have to know who you are. Right? Because this moment is, God is everywhere perfect, everywhere present and always perfect, right? But this moment you're like, it's a little hot in here. It's not really perfect, right? You see, if you identify with the body, then the moment's very rarely going to be perfect, right? The body can always find something wrong with the moment. That's why you need to go in and do the practice to find out, to discover, not to just to believe or think in some philosophical kind of way, but to know I'm not a body. I can experience that when I do my practice. I can see clearly that I have to watch my body, that my body communicates to me in the exact same way that the rest of the world communicates to me, through my senses, right? And so you come to know that you're not a body. Why is that important? So that the moment can be perfect for you. And you're like, but I'm a little depressed. It's not really perfect. It's like, well, you're not a mind either, right? Because if you go inside and you sit and do your practice, you discover that you're an observer, that this awareness, this divine presence with you has only ever watched. It has never done anything. It has been watching life through the eyes of one body after another for how long? Who knows? It doesn't matter, right? You're not a mind and you're not a body. So those are not your concerns. Those are not your purpose. You are a light, right? Your purpose is merely expression. There's nothing to accomplish. God is everywhere present and always perfect. What are you going to do in that scenario? Play with Legos? Yeah, why not? What else would you do? Everything's perfect and already done. You know, Thakur gives us a few clues. He says, dive deep into the beauty of God. So look at this world. Dive deep into it. But don't appreciate it as a world. Appreciate it as a manifestation, as a showing of what the divine is. This world, all of that your senses are taking in is God at this moment. See it that way and learn from it. How much you can learn from every single thing that's around you at this moment. You know, there's all those gurus that they talk about, the Avadhuta, I think, where you get, you can learn from a fire, you can learn from a tree, you can learn from a goat, you can learn from a cow, you can learn from a friend, right? If you walk around with the awareness that all of this is divine, that all of this is Brahman, not material. We haven't even been able to find out what material is yet, right? That's a big clue, that we don't know what material is. Because this is all consciousness. This is all awareness, right? This is your game. You're here to play it, not to escape it. M is talking again with Ramakrishna. He says, I said to Kishori, the box is empty. There's nothing inside. But two men are pulling at it from either side, thinking that the box contains money. Well, the body alone is the cause of all this mischief, isn't it? The Gyanis see all of this and say to themselves, what a relief one feels when this pillowcase of the body drops off. Right? It's kind of funny because in that same paragraph, after M is sitting here talking about how there's nothing here, right? That's the other extreme. It's like we always hear that too in Vedanta. Oh, this world is an illusion. There's nothing here. No, that's utterly untrue. That's utterly untrue. God is here. God is everywhere present, always perfect. That's a huge thing to ignore, a huge thing to discount, right? Because it means the fundamental nature of this universe is love, which means you can expect this universe to love you back, right? You can know that for a fact. There is love here, and it's overflowing, right? We can't see this moment as it is because we're looking at it through our senses, right? We stepped into our senses to experience it rather than to step into the silence inside. Rather than stepping into the bliss, stepping into the atmosphere of love that exists in this temple that is your body. Because you are the deity of the temple in this body, right? You, that unencumbered self, that self beyond attribute, that infinite self that's never going to die, that's never been born, that's always free, that always has more love to give, right? That's who you are. That's what you are. So Ramakrishna answers M. The Master and M were walking toward the Kali temple. They are talking about the futility of this world as unreal. And the Master says, why should you say such things? This world may be a framework of illusion, but it is also said that it is a mansion of mirth. Let the body remain, right? Let the body remain. One can also turn this world into a mansion of mirth. M. But where is unbroken bliss in this world? Right? And can you just see how the master is going to look at him? Another riddle. He's going to look at him and smile. He's going to say, yes, where is it? Right? Where is it? You'll never guess to look here. Because for you, the world exists out here. But the key to it is here. Find the shrine in your heart. Find the place of silence that's before mind, that's before body, where the soul has been seated comfortably in perfect contemplation for time immemorial. It's not concerned because it's sitting in a place that's outside of time. It hasn't even been a long time. For the soul, it's been no time. It's just observing an eternal moment, in the moment, not measured, not accumulated, not counted. Sitting in freedom for eternity, watching what? The unfoldment of its infinite, divine, and loving nature. That's why every poem that is written, every book that is written, every movie that's written, every song that is sung is about love. They're all about love. There's your other clue. What is the nature of this world? What is the purpose of this world? No man becomes purer and purer. It is a matter of greater manifestation. The veil falls away, and the native purity of the soul begins to manifest itself. Everything is ours already. Infinite purity, infinite freedom, infinite love, and infinite power. A man who does not believe in himself is an atheist. Right? You have within yourself all the power necessary to live this life beautifully. You've been given all of the information that you need in order to live this life perfectly. By remembering who you are constantly, remembering that you're free and not letting your past define you, remembering that you're free and not letting your future worry you, but to be present and to be doing with the focus of love, with the focus of wisdom, with the focus of being here now, being present. All three components of yourself. M says to Ramakrishna, well, since there is no unbroken happiness in the world, why should one assume a body at all? I know that the body is meant only to reap the results of past action, but who knows what sort of action it is performing now? The unfortunate part is that we're all being crushed. The master answers in a very interesting way. He says, if a pea falls into filth, it grows into a pea plant nonetheless. Right? He's reminding you, you're not a piece of filth in a big tank of filth. This world may have some suffering. It may have some unknowns. It may have some tough times in it. But you're a divine seed. You're a seed of pure love, a seed of ideals. And your whole life will be spent reaching for that ideal. Right? Your whole life will be spent working out that ideal. What does perfect love look like when it's shown through this lens? The lens of a Swami C, the lens of a John or a Mike or a Mary Ann. What does pure love look like when it shines through this? And how do I get as much light shining through this as possible? What are my lampshades, right? What are my obstacles? Right? Because knowing that is very important to expressing this divine love. It doesn't matter what your abilities or your disabilities are. It doesn't matter. There's always a way for light to shine, no matter what the obstacles are, no matter how they're presented. I learned this in a very difficult way with my friend Lila, who I'll probably mention every time I give a lecture. You know, I watched her. She was a very strong woman, a lawyer, and one day she had a stroke, 10 seconds. Actually, it was 8 seconds of a stroke. She never got out of bed again after that. And for the first year, she cried about it every time I talked on the phone with her. Every single time, it was tears. How can the Divine Mother do this to me? I can't even button my own blouse. I can't even roll over. What is the point of life if I can't move, if I can't speak, if I can't do anything? Right? And then as I remind people that about a year later, we were still talking. We talked quite regularly, actually. But one day she picked up the phone because I called her. And it was just different. I didn't know what was different, but it was different. And I asked her immediately, I said, Lalita, what's going on? Something's different. And she says, you're right, it's different. She says, I discovered something. I was laying here, she said, like I have been for the last year, bemoaning my limitations and my obstacles and how I can't do anything. And she said, and then it occurred to me that I'm still fully me. The body's broken, but the body's always been my obstacle to manifesting my nature. It's always been an obstacle of some kind. Now it's just changed its obstacles. And so she says, I realized it's still me to express what I am, to express love, to express wisdom. And she said, so I get in the mornings, I've had the two nurses come in and help get me into the wheelchair, and they strap me in. And she says, then with my two fingers that still move on my right hand, I can buzz around the floor in the wheelchair. And she says, I go to the library and I memorize jokes every day, every morning. I go there and spend a few minutes just memorizing a few jokes. And then I just spend my day going around and visiting people in their rooms, telling them jokes, enjoying them, being with them. And she says it's made all the difference. And you know, when I wrote this, when this lecture came together, I was thinking of her. You know, when Ramakrishna tells us that exactly. It's not what you live. You can be stuck in a bed with a stroke. You can still express your nature. You can still have a fulfilling life. Right? You can still be what you are. If you don't focus on the obstacles, if you don't focus on your limitations, if you don't feel guilty about your faults, if you don't get angry with yourself because you're not patient and kind to yourself. Right? The work begins there first, within yourself, your inner dialogue, the way you address yourself. Are you patient with yourself? Are you loving with yourself? Are you nurturing with yourself? Do you always believe in yourself, even though there's so much evidence that no one in their right mind would believe in you? Because the divine does. The divine doesn't take your past into an account. The divine sees you now already as he made you, perfect and beautiful, full of light. You may be stumbling around like a toddler, but we don't go beat a toddler up because it can't walk right. Right? Thakur says, you know, no matter what a son calls the father knows that the son is calling him. You know, the 2-year-old may just call him Ba, right? And the teenager might call him your old man. But the Father always knows who's calling, who's talking. And so it is with the divine. He sees you through the lens of perfect grace, a perfect love. This impropriety that he sees a sinner. Vivekananda says there's never been a greater blasphemy for us to call each other sinners. When we are divine lights, even in the Christian scripture, we're made in the image of God. What is in there, right, to hold against us? See yourself as the image of the beloved. Take courage in it. Stand up and accept the grace that's offered to you. Don't question it. Go forward with all of the courage and fearlessness that it affords you. Your perfection is your destiny. It's not a gift. You're an heir to that perfection. It's yours by birthright. Right? This world is about exploring and experimenting and finding out what it is to be. To what it is to be as I was created. It is, Vivekananda says, it is our own mental attitude which makes the world what it is for us. Our thoughts make things beautiful. Our thoughts make things ugly. The whole world is in our own minds. Learn to see things in the proper light. First, believe in this world, that there is meaning behind everything, right? That this world is not just an illusion. There is something behind the illusion. What is that is behind the illusion? When you go to a movie, right? You're watching the movie. There's a reality behind the movie. What is that reality behind the movie? The white screen that never changes, right? That white screen that can play every movie. That white screen that can tell every story. That white screen that can have you crying and laughing and screaming. Right? There is meaning in this world. It's to know this world, to know the nature of this world, to find the divine behind it, to look through the selfishness of other people and see the divine heart inside of them struggling not to be selfish. To look at everybody in the eye and see somebody struggling to love you back, trying to care, trying to find a security and a strength, but having no idea what there is. As a spiritual seeker, it's yours to be there for everyone, to walk around available to God, to walk around, like we mentioned, with a constant fond regard for everyone around you, not joking about the way they're dressed or the way they look or how much money they do or don't have or how much fame they do or don't have, but to walk around and see brothers and sisters, to walk around and see fellow sufferers, people that are having a hard time these days, making it through. And maybe you have nothing to give, but you have yourself. And just to say hi, just to smile back, just to pause for a moment and recognize them as a human being, that's a beautiful gift. And it goes a long way. This is how we live this life in this world. So the master back saying, if a pea falls into filth, it grows into a pea plant nonetheless. And then M says, yeah, but there's still those 8 bonds. Master's like, no, they're not the 8 bonds, those 8 fetters, right? But what if there are? These fetters fall off in a moment by the grace of God. Do you know what it's like? Suppose a room has been kept dark 1,000 years. The moment a man brings light into it, the darkness vanishes, not little by little. Haven't you seen the magician's feat? He takes a string with so many knots and ties one end to something, keeping the other in his hand. Then he shakes the string once or twice, and immediately all the knots are undone. Right? So have that as your faith as you go forward here. Hey, yes, this is a world of illusion. It is. But it's a story of love, a story of wisdom and being. It's a story of God shining through all different lenses at the same time. All of us in a room together. Right? This world is a play, and you are his playmates. Go on, work, without any sorrow, without any misery. See his play in the slums, see his play in the saloons. Work to lift people, not that they are vile or degraded. Krishna does not say that. It is blasphemy to think that you can help anyone. First, root out this idea of helping, and then go to worship. God's children are your master's children. And children are but different forms of the Father. You are his servant. Serve the living God. God comes to you in the blind. God comes to you in the broken, in the poor, in the weak, in the diabolical. What a glorious chance for you to worship. The moment you think that you're helping, you undo the whole thing and degrade yourself. Knowing this, work. What follows, you say? You do not get that heartbreak, that awful misery. Then work is no more slavery. It itself becomes a play, becomes joy. And where did that go? It becomes play and joy itself. Work and be unattached. That is the whole secret. If you get attached, you become miserable. Right? If you get attached, if you try and hold on to something that's changing, to try and make it not change, right? If you try and hold something in the flow of this river of life, there's suffering in that. Let it all go. Let it all be what it is. Watch it, right? No clinging. You don't need anything outside of yourself. That's the biggest freedom of all right there. Stop looking for things outside of yourself to make you happy. Not necessary. You are what you seek. And Nisargadatta says it best. He says, do you not know that it is your quest for happiness itself that prevents you from being happy? Right? How is that so? It is your seeking for God that prevents you from finding him. Why? Because to seek something you have to assume you don't have it. And if you've assumed that you don't have the divine, you have assumed incorrectly. And you're shooting blind at that point. You are divine. You are life itself. You give the gift of love and have an infinite amount of it to share. You don't have to meter it out only to people you know or people that are relatives or people that like you back. You can give it freely. You won't run out. That's the fun of it. That's what makes it a game. You have an infinite supply. Sri Ramakrishna was talking to Kali, the divine mother of the universe. He said, "Mother, everyone says that my watch alone is right. The Christians, the Brahmos, the Hindus, the Islamic, they all say my religion alone is true. But Mother, the fact is that nobody's watch is right. Who can truly understand you? But if a man prays to you with a yearning heart, he can reach you through your grace by any path." Right? By any path. If a child is calling out for his parents, any parent is going to run to help initially, right? Just cry out to God. God will not leave you alone. He will not have your prayer unanswered. The Master's talking with M at the beginning of the Gospel. He says, "Well, do you believe in God with form or without form?" M, "Well, sir, I like to think of God as formless." The Master, "Very good. It is enough to have faith in either aspect. You believe in God without form. That is quite all right. But never for a moment think that this alone is true and everything else is false. Remember that God with form is just as true as God without form, but hold fast to your own conviction." Right? So it's important to have a conviction. Be on the path that you're on, right? Be dedicated to it, because paths are sort of like scaffolding, right? You should get all of your scaffolding from the same vendor. You don't want to mix and match scaffolding on the side of your building that you're trying to reach, right? So you pick a path and you follow it, and you use the tools and the structures of that path, because they're made by the same assembler, and they'll all work together and will get you where you're needing to go, right? So you have to pick a path, right? And stay true to it. Stay true to your convictions. But understand that every single person is on a path, right? Every person is on a path. Every person is a player in the game. And we're all just playing together. Right? There's no reason for selfishness. There's no reason for being a protectionist, for metering out your love. Right? If you meter out your love to only those who deserve it or whom you want to have it, then you're just part of the problem. You're part of the trouble. We can't all deserve love. Right? It's always a matter of grace. And since the divine grace is going to be nice to you, be nice to everyone. You're not going to lose anything. Hold fast to your own conviction. The Master sharply, "That's the one hobby of you Calcutta people, giving lectures and bringing others to the light. Nobody ever stops to consider how to get the light himself. What are you going to teach others? He who is the Lord of the universe will teach everyone. He alone teaches us, who has created this universe, who has made the sun and the moon, men and beasts and other things, who has provided means for their sustenance, who has given children parents and endowed them with love to bring them up. The Lord has done so many things. Will he not show people the way to worship him? If they need teaching, then he will be the teacher. He is our inner guide." Right? He is your inner guide. In what form? That Satchitananda that is flowing out of you. He is your inner guide. When you act in a way that's contrary to your divine nature, you're going to hurt. Go and slap your best friend. It doesn't feel good to him or to you. Right? That's the inner guide teaching you. And so you have to be very sensitive inside. You have to be aware of what's inside, aware of your mind, aware of your body. Because when the inner guide speaks, that's how you're going to hear it, by having paid attention to the inner process, the inner dialogue. Right? We have to remove me and mind from it as much as possible so that we can hear it. Because this external world, very noisy, constantly changing and flickering, very interesting to watch. The inside world, not so much. Quite quiet in there, right? Quite quiet. But there's contentment in there. And Mother says there is no treasure greater than contentment. There's contentment within you right now. Touch that. Stay in that space. And when the senses try and draw you out by showing you something beautiful, see the beautiful and be happy that you saw something beautiful. Don't think that you need to go get it. Don't think that you need to have it to be fulfilled. That's the trick. There's nothing outside of yourself necessary for your happiness, for your bliss. You are perfectly powerful by yourself. There is no one in you but you, the Divine Spirit. Only your attachments will argue with you about that. If you are strong, take up the Vedanta philosophy and be independent. If you cannot do that, then worship God. If not, then worship some image. If you lack strength to even do that, do some good work without any idea of gain. Offer everything you have to the service of the Lord and fight on. Leaves and water and one flower. Whosoever lays anything on my altar, I receive it with equal delight, says God. If you cannot do anything but a single good work, then take refuge in the Lord. The Lord resides within the heart of the being, making them turn upon his wheel. Do thou with all thy soul and heart. Do so with all thy soul and heart, and take refuge in him. This is the endgame. This is the endgame. You know, at this moment, you're free because Mother has made you free. This moment, you have no mark against you because Mother has released you from it. In this moment, you can go anywhere in any direction that you want to go. Be free in that. Choose love, choose wisdom, and be present, here and now. This is the only space where things happen. This moment is eternal. It has never begun and it will never end. It is God. And that intimacy that you share with God right now is proven in your existence, because God is existence. It's proven in your ability to see and express love, because God is love. It's available for you to grow from your mistakes, because God is wisdom. So all three of those love letters will never leave you. You can always know that they are true, that the love of God is enough, that his grace is enough even for you. So sit with that confidence. Go forward in that confidence. Live in that confidence. And when you're tired of the game, go home. Be free.
Lift us from bondage to freedom. Come to us, show us the way. Lift us from Maya to freedom. We who are struggling today. Carry us over the ocean.
was a great song. Wow, this is why I love Hollywood. You guys have more events than any place else I've ever been. So let's see here. Today's the 17th. I'm finished with my part. Next week, Spiritual Talk by Swami Mahayogananda. Oh, he's up in Santa Barbara this morning. All right, and then they've got lots of classes. At 4:30 online only is the Srimad Bhagavatam with Swami Sarvadevananda. And then on Tuesdays at 7:30 p.m., it's the Svetasvatara Upanishad with Swami Sarvadevananda. On Wednesdays, just so you don't get 24 hours without something, you've got the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna at 7:30 p.m. Yes, that's kind of shared between Pravrajaka Matriprana and Swami Sarvadevananda. And then Thursdays at 7:30 p.m., the next one coming up is the Katha Upanishad. And then after that, it's the letters of Swami Vivekananda, the Swami Mahayogananda. All right. Memorial Day retreat on the 25th. There's going to be some reading of the complete works, a noon puja, a mountain journey, an interfaith opera. Ooh. Discussions on the readings, a break, and then 5:30 a talk by Swami Sarvadevananda. So that's the prasada lunch is in there also as well. And that's it. I highly recommend you get one of these things. There's there's a lot of information in there. So, but remember, this temple is yours, right? The original temple is right here in each one of you. And for some reason, we made an external manifestation of our internal reality. And so this place is yours to come and do practice, to come and share in these classes. Your devotion built it, when you were here as a different set of people, perhaps. And so make it your own. Use this place and leave, in that good old Southern California, leave your vibe when you come, come in and do your practice and leave some good samskaras here in the room that others can enjoy that stillness after you're gone. Take each other's help also, right? You have special permission to be goofy loving with each other. You can get away with things here you can't get away with out in the world, Somebody will be like, oh, you're weirdo. Here they expect it. You are a weirdo just by being here. Look at the way I'm dressed. All right. Go forward, my friends. Don't give up. I'll be over there.